Hey everyone, Val here, and this morning I am having oatmeal with a banana, and it's like half a cup of oatmeal, half a cup of yogurt, banana, and a touch of pumpkin spice in there. And that's it. That's what I'm having for breakfast this morning. I'm going to, well, this is Friday. We're going to have our Thanksgiving meal tomorrow with the kids and grandkids. So this morning I'm going to make pumpkin pie. I'm going to make a chocolate pie. I'm going to make a lasagna for tonight for Steve and I and Gavin, my grandson Gavin, and my son, because my son is going to go pick up Gavin for me and bring him up so that I don't have to make that hour-and-a-half trip each way. He's closer to him, so he's going to pick him up at 3 and then bring him up here. They should be here by 5 at the latest, because it's about an hour-and-a-half or so. So they should be here by 5. I'll have the pies done. I'll have, what else? I was going to do a chocolate pie, a pumpkin pie. Oh, and he wanted chocolate chip cookies. So I was going to do the chocolate chip cookies too, because then tonight we can peel the potatoes and make salads and that kind of stuff. All we'll have to do tomorrow in the oven is the turkey and the stuffing. So I don't know any way we can be cooking pies and stuff when the turkey's cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and do the pies today. So maybe we'll have time to chat while I'm cooking. We will see. See if I have anything to chat about. I'll try to come up with something. And then we'll do the stuffing tomorrow, because the stuffing is going to be the Sunday collab video on my favorite Thanksgiving dish, even though it's not a Weight Watchers, it's not a weight-friendly dish. It's very heavy with carbs, but it is my favorite dish. So that's the dish I'm going to be doing for my Thanksgiving meal. And I'll share that with you, and that'll be on Sunday's collab. So I'm not sure if this video will go up before or after that, because I'm not sure where I am in my video editing. But if it's afterwards, if it's after Sunday, then go back to Sunday's video and watch how our family has made stuffing for years and years and years and years, or the basic concept of it. It's how I've adapted it to work for me. So it's a family recipe. So I'm going to eat my breakfast. I'm going to do my Bible study, maybe rest for a few minutes, because my back is still very weird. I don't know. The pain moves around in the lower back, so I don't know. Anyway, I have my back brace on. I'm going to make it through it, and we're going to get started cooking. So let me eat my breakfast. I'll be back. I've taken a little morning break, and I've uploaded a video onto YouTube. I've done my Bible study, so I'm going to put together my lasagna for tonight. When I finish with that, I'm going to make my 2 pies and the cookies, and then I'm going to take a break and probably do a little stitching or something until Gavin and Buddy get here at 5 o'clock. And I'm going to be working while I'm talking. So I've got the lasagna noodles on the stove in hot water. I've defrosted my ground beef. So it's not quite defrosted yet. So I'm going to go a couple more minutes on the defrost. I use the light, lean ground beef and not chicken in my, I don't use ground chicken at all, ever, because I don't like the taste of it. And I know Steve won't like the taste of it. So I don't use that, and I can face you down if you want to see what I'm doing, but basically all I'm doing is I have some fresh garlic that I'm going to saute to put into my meat sauce. And this is a very basic lasagna that I'm doing. So I thought, since I'm going to be preparing for my my Thanksgiving dinner, that I can give you some Thanksgiving kitchen safety tips if you'd like. These tips came from the fire department, the Belmont Women's Club, which is a club that I'm a member of. They had a meeting in October, and they invited the firemen, and they gave us some safety tips, so I thought I would share those with you. I have this little keeper. I don't know if you have these plastic keepers that I put my onions in, and they last a really long time in those keepers. So if you haven't tried those little keepers, I know my sister said I use onions too fast, I would never keep them long enough to go bad, but in our house, I don't cook with a lot of onions because Steve doesn't like the raw onions. I would definitely use raw onions if it was me in my salads and stuff, but he's not a fan. Let me turn over my ground beef here. He's wanting me to turn it over. I think it's about thawed. I'm just going to go that extra minute with it. But for my lasagna and for foods that are cooked, he doesn't mind me sauteing the onions and putting it in those kind of foods. So I am going to put some into my meat sauce for my lasagna because they'll be cooked. So I have a little garlic, I have a little onion. I think what I'm going to use up this onion and just put a generous portion of onion in it. So anyway, the first safety tip is stay in the kitchen when you're cooking on the stove tops, so you can keep an eye on your food. If you don't do that and something happens and maybe your food boils over, or you're frying something with grease or something and it boils over or catches something on fire, you want to make sure you stay close to your food on the stovetop when you're in the kitchen cooking. It's different in the oven. The oven isn't quite so bad, but the stovetop, it's important that you stay by your food. And I'm going to clean as I go through. I'm going to throw my containers into the sink behind me. I got this pan on the stove over here, getting ready for my sauteing of my onions and my peppers and my ground beef once the ground beef is ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put some oil. I think I'll move you guys over here, so come on over here with me. So I'm just going to use a little extra virgin olive oil in my pan and get it started here. This is just to saute the peppers and onions. I know that the ground beef is going to make its own juice, and I'll drain that out when that's done. So the second safety tip is stay in the home when cooking your turkey and check on it frequently. So I know I've cooked the turkey overnight before, but I've cooked it on really, really low. So it was kind of like slow cooking it. They say not to leave your turkey alone and go off. You want to make sure you're keeping an eye on your turkey. The next step would be keep children away from the stove. The stove will be hot, and the kids should stay at least 3 foot away. So the best thing to do is find an activity for the kids to do, so that they're not underfoot in the kitchen. If you want them to be helping you, maybe you make some cookies that they can frost or a cake that they can frost. Put them over by the table so they're not by the stove and they're not in your way where it's going to distract you and you're going to get burned or the children are going to get burned. Find an activity for the kids. If they want to help the cook, then maybe they can be stirring something. If you're making cakes, maybe they can be stirring your cakes or something for you in another location that's not near the food. We got sizzle. I did cut that down. I got my ground beef out of the microwave. need a towel here. Make sure my noodles are cooking. They look like they're cooking okay. Alright, the next tip is to make sure the kids stay away from the hot foods and liquids. The steam or splash from vegetables, gravy, or coffee may cause a serious burn. Now we want to make sure our holidays are safe and we don't want to have the children getting burned. So, like I said, just find an activity for them to do away from the stove so that they're not underfoot. You don't want to get distracted and get burned either. So, find something that they can do where they're not by the stove. Or even if you're cooking outside and you're frying your turkey outside, if you're doing Thanksgiving turkey or Christmas turkey, make sure the kids stay away from that grease, because that grease gets really hot. You don't want to have your children get burned. You need to keep an eye on them and know where they are. Keep the floor clear so you don't trip over kids, toys, pocketbooks, or bags. So if you have guests coming in, maybe when you're preparing your foods or whatever, make sure that your floors stay clean. Don't let people put stuff down on the floor where you're going to be tripping over stuff. Now, anytime I cook ground beef, I put Worcestershire sauce on it, so I need to get it out of the refrigerator. Because there's just something about ground beef, I have to have the Worcestershire on it. And I put plenty on there, I need to smell it. Now, Steve and I, we use our loft upstairs. We do have a little loft in the house. And it's a spare bedroom. We use as a spare bedroom. But if we know, well, we keep the children's toys up there. We have a box of toys for the kids. And they know that's where it is. And they know that's where their play area is. So when they come over, they head straight upstairs to the play area to get the toys. So that's how we set it up in this house, and that's how it's been. And it works out for us because it kind of keeps the kids out of the area of the kitchen unless we invite them down and say, hey, we're going to be doing a craft on the kitchen table, or, you know, we have cookies for you to frost, come on down to the kitchen table. And we have everything set up for them before they even get down here, so that all they have to do is sit down and they're not running around trying to help you get stuff together. You've already got everything all set up for them, and they're not near the stove or anything that's hot. So let's see if there's another tip that the fire department gave us. It's keeping your floor clean so you don't trip over purses and bags. Keep knives out of the reach of children. You don't want to have, you're cutting up vegetables or something and maybe you're using the kitchen table. Sometimes I'll sit at the kitchen table and cut stuff. You don't want accidentally a child to come up and grab that knife and get hurt by that knife, or maybe, you know, you've stepped away and they've taken the knife and they're pretending they're helping you. Mimicking what you do, and they get cut. So we don't want that to happen. Keep the knives away from children. That's one of the safety rules from the fire department. I need to turn my pasta up just a minute. It stopped boiling. It says make sure electrical cords from an electrical knife, coffee maker, plate warmer, or mixer are not clanging off. It said, not dangling off the counter within the reach of children. You don't want a small child coming up to the counter, seeing the cord, grabbing the cord, and then the mixer or whatever falls over onto the child. You definitely don't want that to happen. So if you have a small child, maybe a toddler that might pull something, maybe having a high chair or something they can sit in where they can see what you're doing, giving them some Play-Doh or something maybe they could play with and pretend they're making a pie or something. Have them in there where they can be with you and see you, but being safe. Have them in something that they can't be reaching and grabbing. It says keep matches and utility lighters out of the reach of children. Up high in a locked cabinet. Definitely don't want our children playing with matches or lighters because we don't want to burn anything down. And now you see this is a really light ground beef. I don't know if you can see it or not. Pan's a little hot. But it's not creating much fat in it at all. I will drain the little bit in there, but this is pretty lean ground beef. If you're going to eat ground beef and you're watching your weight and your health, make sure you get lean ground beef. Never leave children alone in a room with a lit candle. I know, people like the scents off the candles and stuff, but I don't burn candles around the children. I have a wax melt burner, and I do use that, but I try to keep that and the cord from that back so that children can't reach up and grab it or touch the hot wax and get burned with the hot wax or something. You have to be mindful of what's burning and what's cords are hanging and all of that stuff when you have children around. Not just at Christmas time, not just at Thanksgiving time, but any time of the year. And then the last tip that they gave me is make sure your smoke alarms are working. Test them by pushing the test button, and we should do that periodically. I know our smoke alarm is electric, so it works as long as the electricity doesn't go out, but you do need to check those. And we do cook with gas. We have a gas stove, and we have our heater and everything, so make sure we have a carbon monoxide indicator too, so that if something happens and the gas is leaking, then it'll alert us by buzzing that there's gas in the house, so we don't have issues with gas. We know that there's families that have lost loved ones because they had a gas leak and they didn't know it in the house and they were overcome by gas fumes. Happened to friends of our church last year that lost a couple family members due to the gas. So make sure if you have gas in your house that you have carbon monoxide monitors. Definitely don't want to lose a family member, a child or something because you have a gas leak somewhere. Alright, I think my noodles are done. I'm going to drain them in my sink over here. Cut my stove off before I dump them here. Ooh, fog up my glasses. So that's all the safety tips I have. I'm just gonna continue to make my lasagna here. So the meat and the onions and the garlic are all mixed up here. I'm going to use ricotta cheese, and I've done this ever since my kids were little so that there's not clumps of ricotta in your lasagna. I mix it in with my sauce. I mix the ricotta in with my sauce. I have some homemade canned tomatoes. They have onions. They do have some onions. No, they don't have onions in them. They have garlic and peppers in them. So I have those, and I have cut the burner off. I don't need this to be hot. I'm just going to mix this in, and also going to put in my Italian seasonings. These are just basic Italian seasonings. Can you see it? Oh, there you go. So I don't measure when I cook normally. I just do it to taste. So the cheese should thicken up the tomatoes. If it's not thick enough, I can add a can of tomato paste to it. But usually the cheese thickens up the tomatoes, okay? I don't want the sauce dry. Try not to make a mess. I don't want to splash too much here. I try to get as many lumps out of it as I can. But I don't need every single lump to be out of it. It just made it easier because my kids didn't see lumps of cheese in there. And they love my lasagna, so this is the way I make it. Steve loves my lasagna. This is the way I make it. So I'm not going to change. This way I've been doing it since they were little. That's all the safety tips I had from the fire department. Tell me if you have any other safety tips that they hadn't put on the sheet. Put it in the description box. Let's share some safety tips with each other so that we stay safe and our children and our families stay safe over the holidays. Let's share as many safety tips as we can with each other. Alright, I think that's pretty good. What do y'all think? That's pretty good. I'm going to move this over to the other counter, to the island over here, and we're going to put this lasagna together. I'm going to spray my pan. I'm going to use this big pan here. I'll spray it good. And I'm going to put a little sauce in the bottom. This is my little sauce mixture. Just a little, just so the noodles don't stick to the bottom of the pan, or to help them to not stick. And I have mozzarella cheese. I bought a big bag yesterday, but I have a couple of little bags. This one's almost empty. I'm going to use the old stuff up first. I also have some grated cheese. This is Parmesan and Romano cheese. I was thinking I should have bought some yesterday, but I think I got enough in here. I'll just have to buy some more for the next time I make lasagna. Do y'all make homemade lasagna, or do you use store-bought? We have store-bought sometimes, but I really prefer my own. My own tastes so much better. So I usually do about 5 or 6 noodles across the bottom. I guess I can do 5. 5 works fine. And then I have plenty of sauce in my pan. I think you can see my sauce there. Oh, my camera's down as far as it'll go. I'm going to get a ladle and help me pour it out a little bit faster than that spoon. As you can see, there is a couple of lumps of cheese in there, but that's fine. It'll melt down. I just don't like big old globs in there. Now I just used a little over a pound, I think, of the ground beef. I bought the big package of like 3 pounds and 3-something pounds, and then broke it into 3 equal servings and put it in the freezer. It was cheaper that way. So I just used 1 package in with my sauce. I think that should be fine. Alright, that's good. I put a nice layer on there. Alright, I'm just going to sprinkle a good, ooh, it's clumpy. Let me make sure it doesn't have clumps. And I don't measure, you know, I don't say like, we'll put a cup of cheese on this layer. I go by sight. And we all like cheese. So I'll just make sure there's a good layer on there. And it's pretty evenly distributed. I'll sprinkle some of this cheese on there. And then I'm just going to do 2 more layers the same way. I usually go 3 layers high. So let me get this done. I'll show you when I'm finished with it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the refrigerator, and I'll cook it later. Probably take about half an hour to an hour to warm it up again. Probably more like an hour. Somewhere around 350 degrees, so that it's ready when my son and my grandson and Steve get home. It'll be all ready to go for them. So let me see how many noodles. This usually makes a good, it makes a good lasagna with the exact amount of noodles. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 noodles left. I'm going to put an extra noodle on this layer. I'm just going to move these over a little bit so that I can use all of my noodles up. There we go. We don't like waste. Alright, I'm going to keep going and I'll show you when it's finished. My lasagna is finished for tonight. I'm going to cover it over with aluminum foil and stick it in the refrigerator and move on to the next thing. Alright, my pies are done. I have 2 pumpkin pies, a little bit of pumpkin left over. It made a whole lot of pumpkin. And in here I have the chocolate pie. You can't really see it, but the chocolate pie is in there. And then I'm making the chocolate chip cookies. I have 2 pans in the oven, and this is what's left. And they're looking pretty good. So I have my oven light on there. I don't know if you can see them, but they're looking pretty good. The chocolate chip cookies are done. Got a little bit over here. I'm going to turn the light off. And we're going to go do some sewing. I've been working on the stockings this afternoon. I've got fur on about 8 or 9 more of them. So that's my stack that are finished with the fur. And those are the ones with the lace. And I still have, I think it's like 6 more that I need to finish. But this is it for today in the craft room. Let me show you my lasagna. Breadsticks are done. The lasagna's in there looking really good. It's just about done. We're waiting on Steve. Gavin is here. Say hi, Gavin.
Hi.
Buddy's here. That's my son, that's my grandson. So we're going to wait till Steve gets home and eat some lasagna. Steve should be home any minute. We've got the kitchen ready. And then we're going to do some cooking. I'm going to make the guys work, and I'm going to sit back and just supervise. So, thank y'all for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and you want to. I'll catch you on tomorrow's video. We're going to have a big luncheon. So, turkey and stuffing and everything. Looking forward to it. All right, catch you tomorrow. Bye.